The Steelers lose at Cincinnati next week. Ryan Finley tattoo right here.
All right, so that is an actual podcast bet. If the Steelers, you got to. I mean, you said it twice now.
All right, then I'll do it. Of course, I'll do it. But you have to pay for it. Breach draws it. You pay for it. I get it.
I will literally I will Venmo you the money the second the game is over, and I will Venmo you double whatever the tattoo costs so that you can buy a camera and take pictures of yourself to send all of us.
Ryan Finley is the third starting quarterback for the Bengals this season.
And I mean, honestly, like, this will sound insane. This is kind of a big turning point for the Steelers in this season.
They're playing the Bengals.
26 on the 26. Here's Bernard, still on his feet. Touchdown, Bengals.
Can we see this?
Yes. Oh.
2nd and 2. Finley will keep it right up the middle.
Breach!
Down, Ryan Finley! I put up at the exact right time, guys.
You're the worst.
And it's a 10-point Bengals lead with 12 seconds left.
The game is over. The tattoo is on.
It's down.
Everyone who listens or watches this podcast knows that Ryan Wilson is supposed to have a tattoo. Supposed to get a tattoo because Ryan Finley and the Bengals on Monday night beat the Steelers like 2 years ago. 2 years since it happened that he's welched on this bet. He's tried to pawn it off on Breach because Breach didn't get the artwork done. And then he tried to pawn it off of me like I didn't Venmo him enough money. I'll just pay you for the tattoo when you get the tattoo. Like, just get it done, I'll pay for it. Like, I have to Venmo him ahead of time. He's been waffling like an outrage.
Well, and now there's no one left to pawn it off on.
Correct. Breach, my theory is that Wilson has booked flights as close to as humanly possible the beginning and the end of the work-related functions in order to then say there's no time while we're in Nashville for him to get a tattoo and to continue to push this back like an absolute coward. What the?
What time?
Hey, how's it going?
Whoa!
Why he got his tattoo? Is that real?
What?
No, that's not real. No way. How could this? Did you like brainwash me to bring it up?
Whoa.
Is that real?
You know, we're with you today.
No.
What?
No.
What?
Oh my god.
Oh my God.
No.
What?
Oh my god.
We're proud of you.
Okay. You flew it early without telling us and then snuck it in? Oh my god.
What a man. Oh my God. How do you feel?
Dude, that is awesome. I cannot believe it.
You guys plotted this whole thing. That is so well done. That is so well done.
We were killing it.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Big Six Podcast, CBS Sports Daily NFL Podcast. I'm Will Bridges, I'm your host, but more importantly, Ryan Wilson has a freaking tattoo.
Is that real?
It's a real tattoo.
I can't tell if it's real.
It's covered in plastic. We thought it was a henna tattoo.
Yeah,
The reason it's covered in plastic is
Henna.
Wilson has to wait 7 days to get the plastic removed to avoid infection.
Right.
Look, that video on yesterday, or what's today, Tuesday?
Mhm.
Today's Tuesday. Yesterday, Monday, was like we didn't know Wilson was going to be here. Breach and I didn't until literally we're sitting at the table with Debo and EK, our boss, and we're like, man, he's not going to get this stinking tattoo. And they're like, I was like, do you think he'll get it? And they go, why don't you ask him? And we turn around and Wilson's doing a Vince McMahon strut through the lobby of the hotel because he's gotten this tattoo. He's changed his flight and come in early. And he got the tattoo. We didn't know it was coming. We were shocked, very impressed. You paid off the bet. Sure, it was 2 years, but it was well worth the payoff.
A couple things. It wasn't a Ryan Finley tattoo, which Ryan Finley in my mind is Snoopy, so I went with the Snoopy thing.
Let me defend you real quick.
Okay.
he has Ryan Finley's stat line from the game tattooed on his body. So I think that counts because let's be fair. We can't ask this man to have Ryan Finley's face on his body for the rest of his life.
Good point.
But he did get the stat line, so I think that counts as Ryan Finley.
Can you go over a little closer to 1B? They want to see a close-up of it.
Debo might have
No, but you just go walk over and just.
Oh, actually walk over.
I mean, this is not typical studio behavior, but you're not plugged in anything, so we'll just go with it.
Also worth noting, I don't know if the light's
the light's not going to work. Yeah, there you go.
So Brent and I have a theory that Wilson knew he was going to get the tattoo like 2 months ago, and he's literally been working.
Look at these. There you go. You
working
can go back,
out
Wilson,
every day, nonstop since then, so he could flex.
Yeah, look at these guns. I mean, this is unbelievable. And he's got this like tight black shirt. Shout out to Lewis.
Yeah, Lewis, our guy with the Baker Mayfield t-shirt.
Yeah, you're very AFC Northish today.
Yeah, I also want to say quickly that I found this tattoo furiously Googling Bengals tattoos. I was telling you this, Breach. So whoever got this tattoo originally, shout out to you for stealing your tattoo. But it's a great tattoo, by the way. Obviously, I'm not a Bengals fan, but I actually sort of like it. I was a big Snoopy guy when I was like 7 or 8 or 9. So
we got a lifelong Steelers fan who now has a Bengals tattoo on his body.
Well, but also, I mean, like I think it's worth doing like Snoopy, like Snoopy's alter ego is Joe Cool,
right?
Which
so
is Joe Burrow. So that's a connection to the Bengals. And Ryan Finley was only playing in the game because Joe Burrow was out and injured. And so Finley comes in, and here's a picture of Wilson looking, pretending not to cry, knowing that
we literally saw that picture and thought he was in a morgue. We were like, is Wilson dead? What's going on here?
Also, shout out to Debo because Debo and I planned this behind you two idiots' backs, and he was more than willing to. His flight and my flight got in at the same time. We got to the hotel, booked it over to the tattoo parlor at noon yesterday. Shout out to my guy Travis who did the tattoo.
What was the tattoo parlor?
Electric Hand.
Yeah. Electric Hand in Nashville.
Yeah.
Fantastic work.
And mind you, walk-in tattoo appointments are not easy to come by in these COVID times. They're all booked or they don't accept walk-ins, especially in Nashville. And so the fact that he was able to hunt one down, that's another bonus point. And doing it behind our backs, man. Usually I don't like things.
And 4.9 rated on Yelp, which was one of your requirements. Because that was the other thing that we thought you were trying to welch on because you're like, it has to be 4.8 or higher. And,
and we figured that he Googled every tattoo parlor in Nashville,
and called,
knowing that there were no 4.9s. And he set this impossible barrier.
Yeah. Also, shout out to everyone that Brinson made donate. So thank you, people. Yep. Shout out to Brinson for finally getting up. Breach actually ended up doing nothing, by the way.
Yeah, Breach did nothing.
Just being a Bengals fan.
Yeah, if I was a Bengals fan, I don't think you would have rubbed it in and came up and bet against yourself.
Yeah, so it's done, and I feel like I'm handsomer for it. So jokes on you guys.
It caused you to get the gun show working too. So you like.
Yeah. Also, Brinson for some reason thinks I'm jacked. But as I told these two idiots,
you were definitely more muscular than the last time we saw you.
Right? I do one-arm push-ups. This arm, don't worry about it. And also, I don't hang out with Brady Quinn and B-Mac. I hang out with you two guys. So
that's true. That's true.
You look
relatively handsome. Yeah.
All right. So, I mean.
Well, what's funny about the video that we opened the show with, which was back from December 2020, is that one part in that video, Brinson goes, this could be a turning point for the Steelers, like implying that their season might fall apart. And Wilson's like, they're playing the Bengals.
Yeah.
And then what happened? Their season fell apart. This is like a double whammy now, just looking back on all this.
What's the stat line? Do you remember? Do you have it memorized now that Ryan Finley was?
7 of 13, 84 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions.
That's right. That's it. That's on my arm forever.
84 yards
and beat.
The best part is Breach goes, is that your kid's birthday? No. That's right. That's right.
I literally thought 7 of 13.
7 13, 84 is like, that could be like, that's like, I think it's like less than a month after my brother's actual birthday.
We need to find a listener who has a July 13th, 1984. Say that the tattoo's dedicated to that person. Then also find the person in the world who has that Snoopy tattoo that did the original design, and you should go out to dinner with them.
I'm assuming that people copy tattoos all the time. I do feel sort of bad that whoever the OG tattooer was and tattooee. But I'm trying to give him a shout out.
I'm guessing they didn't get Ryan Finley's stat.
Also, one more thing. When me and Debo were at the tattoo shop yesterday, in Nashville, they noted that after the Bengals demolished the Titans in the divisional game.
Yeah.
There is a.
I was going to say, do you want to? Oh, go ahead.
There's a mad rush to the tattoo parlors around Nashville, and Bengals fans, by and large, were incredibly nice fans. Some other fan bases, the Buffalo Bills, were less nice when they were in town. But Bengals fans' concerns that were voiced to the tattoo artists were, is this going to jinx the Super Bowl chances? The jury's out on that one.
Speaking of said tattoo artists, let's toss a little footage up of Wilson at the parlor with the tattoo artist.
bring it up.
Whoa.
Is that real?
You know, we're with you today.
What?
20 months, Breach.
That's my shock. That's my shock face, by the way. Like
that was legitimate shock. He was surprised too. So
I've never had, and then not like I'm bothered by this, but I've just never had a surprise birthday. Like like nobody's ever thrown me a surprise birthday. This was like, that must be what it feels like, because I mean, like they were like, why don't you ask him? I was like, what are you talking about?
So Debo did a great job. Like Debo should be a reality television producer because he had it set up perfectly for YouTube.
Perfectly.
Yeah.
And you know, the thing is, me and Brinson have completely opposite reactions to surprises.
Yes.
Is what I found out yesterday. Brinson's going, oh my God. And I'm more of like a stunned silence, speechless person just staring at the tattoo until it was awkward for Wilson because I wouldn't stop staring at his arm. I'm sure if anyone else was in that hotel lobby, they were like, what is going on there? Why are they celebrating the bald guy?
I mean, there's a literal country music concert going on upstairs as we were like celebrating. So I doubt that it was like that big of a deal for them to, like see people freaking out. We're in Nashville. Yeah, there you go.
You can see the tattoo stat line there at the bottom.
Yeah, we'll tweet it out too after the show.
Is that what that's before the plastic is on it? Like that?
He just finished.
That's a lot of red. Like that looks pretty painful.
Sensitive.
And somebody in the chat noted that's a super sensitive spot for our first tattoo. What other places were you considering the tattoo?
I told you this earlier. Like I didn't want to get on my back because I'd never be able to see it. Also, I thought like around upper thigh where no one would see it again. But then every time you get in and out of the shower, you're like, oh, there's Snoopy.
Did
down
you
there.
ever think butt cheek so you could show it to Wilson or Brinson and laugh at him?
I was thinking about like because people have tattoos all over their bodies, and our tattoo artist Travis was talking about it. I would imagine like he sees butts all the time because people come in there and pull their pants down.
I'm sure he sees tons of butts.
And
he sees everything,
boobies and everything else, right? Yeah. So
an interesting location.
So I didn't think about boobies or butt. I just said, let's do inner arm and see what happens.
Sorry, I'm texting JLC a picture of the tattoo.
And so he can have Wilson on radio. And finally, Jason Lockenfor, we've all done his radio show over the past 20 months. And literally, we think we're going on the show to talk about football.
No,
and
they talk about gambling on like marble racing and Wilson's tattoo.
Wilson's tattoo was always half the conversation.
Well, I did one. I did a hit in like July, right around the NFL or the NBA draft, and they were like, "So is this over?" I was like, "Yeah, I think it's just done. Like it's just not going to happen. Like he's gotten the money, he's gotten the idea from Breach. Like we've done as much as we can do, and now it's just up to Wilson to go and find it. You just didn't expect him to do it, and then." Wilson does it by himself in really perfect fashion. Like,
it's going to be the what's the word? The cherry on top of this turd sundae is when we win the podcast awards and he has to get a tattoo. So that's next on the to-do list.
I know, so for those that don't know, we're a finalist for the People's Choice Podcast Awards. If we win said podcast award, I said weeks ago that I would also get a tattoo.
Viewer's choice.
Now, we said viewer's choice, but
you said that. I didn't say that.
Yeah, the funny thing is that was like the idiot thing. Like this tattoo that you got, there was no reciprocal bet for like if the Steelers won.
Just some idiot.
It's just if they lose, I'll get a tattoo, which is an insane idiot thing to do for an NFL.
And by the way, I said Ryan Finley tattoo on my face was the original.
Sure. Yeah, so like, I mean, I think there's going to be a little bit of like you got a tattoo that is not like it's cool. Like I like it. It's good.
It's okay.
And it doesn't. It's not embarrassing. It's a good conversation starter. It's you're not gonna like your kids. You're not gonna like wake up in 20 years and be like, oh my god, I have a I don't know, like what would be like you need to get some chick's name tattooed on your back, right? Like,
I texted my 15-year-old. He said, "How you doing?" I said, "Pretty good." By the way, I got a tattoo yesterday. He goes, "Oh yeah, Mom showed me. It's actually really cool."
See?
And I said, "It's something."
No, it's cool.
No, I like it.
But literally, we kept talking about tattoos after Wilson got the tattoo, and we talked about it so much that Brinson, you probably remember this. We put a moratorium on talking. We were like, you can't say dumb things like you're going to get a tattoo if you're not going to follow through with it. Right. So now that's off, and now Brinson, you've taken it off because you put the tattoo on the.
Well, I'm willing to like. I don't know, like, but my point is like, I'm not gonna like. I'm gonna put some kind of limit, like, in the same way that Wilson didn't actually get you didn't get you got Ryan Finley's stat line, but like you don't have like Ryan Finley's face in your body.
My wife,
like somebody suggested, like I'm going to get the listeners are going to make me get a like a Chapel Hill.
What's wrong with that?
I'm not getting a Tar Heels tattooed on my back.
You said anything and listeners could choose.
But we said Ryan Finley's face.
You know,
There's a little
should
wiggle.
get all three of our faces because you want it with us on the podcast.
Like, would you rather have a face?
Like, I don't want a Pick Six logo, and then all of a sudden I'm fired the next day. Like,
well, would you rather
award-winning podcast host gets
Tar Heels logo, like 2 inches or whatever, or like your face, like that on your back, like your face, just a face,
what do you think I'd rather?
You go with a Brinson mugshot over a Tar Heels.
I'd much rather have my own face on my back.
Would you rather have a Steelers logo on your back or Brinson's face on your back?
Oh, Steelers logo. 100%.
Right.
What?
I mean, that's the easiest question I've ever been asked in my life. Think of me taking off my shirt at like the pool or the beach, and the first thing people see is Brinson's face staring at them. No.
But it's my face on my back.
I would get
your face on your back.
I wouldn't get y'all's face on my back.
But it's weirder to get your own face on your back, I think.
Well, it's better than having a freaking like Tar Heels Ram logo on my back. People are just gonna think I'm a
At least you
fan.
would be pulling for a winner, even though not on purpose.
Where's my dunk button? Damn it.
We
don't have the
no
dunk button.
sound bites when we're together.
Yeah,
That's the
so anyway,
downside.
That's
yeah,
done,
somebody in the chat says I should get a microphone tattoo. That's what I was kind of thinking, like a microphone, but instead of like the mic,
that's actually not
like a mic stand, but instead of the mic, it's like a football. I don't want to get the Pick Six logo because
you're definitely getting fired. Yeah, correct.
Correct. Immediately getting fired, and also
inside joke. They're like, we're gonna fire Brinson as soon as he gets.
Yeah. But also, like, I mean,
that's the big. By the way, that's the reveal. Isn't the tattoo? It's that you're getting fired.
And I don't want to like suggest that anybody around here, could potentially change their mind. But like the Pick Six podcast logo could change in like an hour after I get the tattoo.
I think the microphone. I actually would stick with the microphone and not the football. But I mean,
no, he's saying the microphone would look like a football.
Yeah, I'd rather have the microphone, I think. But it's his back. He can do what he wants.
My face talking to.
What about his face on the microphone like that?
No, remember the Brinson toupee on top of the microphone.
That is awesome.
That's the moneymaker.
That's what we're doing.
Brinson, there we go. We gotta get the people to agree on that.
Yeah. So that's the wait. What was it? I wasn't listening.
Yeah, again.
Even when we're live, I try to stick on
the microphone with Brinson's hair on top of the microphone.
And maybe even
the Brinson toupee,
maybe even fake beard,
or a football with a toupee.
No,
football. That okay. Now we're getting. Somewhere.
That would be like. I feel like the hair is gonna be a lot of like. See, I'm probably going. Where's the best spot to get a tattoo? Like, what did Travis? Did you go in there and just be like, this is what I want, do this right now, or is there any like discussion about it?
I talked to him about it, and he stenciled it, like he cut it, he printed it out, and he held it up to your arm, and me and Debo decided like there was a size bigger than the one I got. I was like, yeah, I don't know if I want to go that big.
That's pretty big.
Yeah, but he said in terms of the detail, you can't have it super small.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You could. I mean, I think on your back there you just can't see it. Maybe you don't want to see it. So I didn't want to forget that it was there because I want to be reminded of my Ryan Finley.
Let me ask you this. So this tattoo, people are going to see it when you're out in public. And if they ask, hey, man, why'd you get that tattoo? Are you going to give the full story? Or are you going to have like
I'll probably say
long story short version?
I'll probably say I lost a bet. And if they want to continue talking, I'll talk about it. But I'm not one to engage people and have conversations.
That's a conversation starter.
You really like Snoopy, huh, bro?
Yeah, huge Snoopy fan.
So your son's a big Snoopy fan, born on July 13th, 1984.
Yeah, sure.
Actually, that's what Ryan Finley's stat line was. We need to get Ryan Finley on the podcast.
At Ryan Hill?
You should be able to have that connection. Does he know Mike Glennon probably?
Yeah.
Does he like being the quarterbacks at the fourth or fifth best college football program in the state of North Carolina?
How dare you? First of all, the best program in the city. Absolutely. Chapel Hill should do something. We haven't won anything. Anyway.
Gavin Leary, baby.
Okay, so any more tattoo?
No, the only other thing that the tattoo artist, he and his buddy, his other buddy had come into work by that point, and they said, oh, you lost a bet. Is this after the Super Bowl? Like, no, just a random game in 2020. Steelers, Thursday. It was Thursday night? I think it was.
Yeah.
So
Thursday in December.
Not even a Super Bowl related bet, which actually would have been okay.
I think it's worth pointing out that Brinson and I were literally on 2 podcasts together last week, and we spent half of those podcasts making fun of Wilson because we said there was no way he'd switch his flight. There was no way he'd book a tattoo appointment. And there was no way he'd actually get a tattoo. And here we are. Yeah. We should literally have to like write words down and eat them.
It's really annoying because, I mean, it's just awesome. Like, I'm pumped that Wilson got the tattoo. It's annoying because, like, I was 100% sure you were going to welch on this thing. 100% sure. Like he's like, oh, I can't believe I'm flying in Tuesday. Oh, it's just so, and you were literally anxious about that.
This is like me and Debo being on a trivia team at, the bar trivia night. And the topic is like hip hop and basketball against you two idiots. Like there was no chance that you were going to be able to match wits with me and Debo.
No, we didn't think there's any chance you were going to change your schedule.
What day did you change the flight actually?
Yeah.
I think Debo said last Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, something like that.
So you change it less than a week before the trip.
Yeah, and then I
see?
texted Electric Hand. I said, by any chance, I know it's late. Would you have any openings? And Kristen, who was awesome, got back to me right away and said, absolutely. Travis said he'll do it. So that worked pretty well.
Did you give him the full details of like what was?
No.
Did Travis know his name was going to be mentioned on a podcast?
He had a potentially award-winning podcast.
Potentially award winner. Yeah, I think he had some hint by the time.
I was going to get some more business. I might have to come back to Nashville and get it done.
Yeah, I recommend Electric Hand.
Okay.
I mean, we were there 35, 45 minutes.
That's it?
In and out, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's it for that?
It was great, yeah. It
Good
could have
work,
been
quickly.
could have been worse, yeah. But I
Did you cry?
You saw the picture. I came close. To your point, though, Breach, like Nashville is bachelorette party central. So
tattoo parlors.
like it was. I texted, emailed a bunch of places 4.8 and higher, and none of them got back to me. And then Electric Hand was the last one, 4.9.
Wow.
Whoa.
Crazy.
So if they don't get back to you, there might not be a tattoo.
That's why I was trying to push that narrative.
Wow.
After I already hadn't made the reservations, just so you know I'm not sweet.
But and to be clear, like there's a very good chance that Wilson was probably going to change his flight anyway. Because
that had nothing to do with tattoo. Just strictly being on time and anxiety reasons.
Yeah, I mean, we have to do a work-related function around.
By the way, Jason Lockenford just tweets out the long Nashville nightmare is over.
Yeah, I love it.
Wilson,
that's
I mean,
hilarious.
what a world.
What a world.
To his 500,000 followers. That's the best part.
Yeah. Okay, so we need to take a break.
Cool.
And
are we
I
gonna actually
guess
talk about football? Or
maybe. I don't know. I need to.
are we going to bring the tattoo artist here? Surprise! Wilson's getting another tattoo.
I don't know. I just realized I was like, oh God, what's happening?
We bring in
world of
Travis,
football?
we bring in Ryan Finley, and then he gives Ryan Finley a Ryan Wilson tattoo.
That would be pretty good. Or a Snoopy tattoo, since you didn't actually get a Ryan Finley.
Fair enough.
But we will talk some football and probably veer back into the tattoo discussion coming up next.
Now streaming. Celebrate South Park's 25th anniversary with performances by Primus, Ween, and Trey Parker and Matt Stone.
Everyone hear me, okay?
South Park at Red Rocks, the 25th anniversary concert. Now streaming on Paramount Plus.
All right. That was a nice quick commercial there. South Park. I like to talk about the commercials. We were talking about this last night. If you're listening to the audio version, you're going to have to go check out YouTube because we can't put, although I guess, no, you can't put like a different thumbnail for the audio version on like Spotify or anything. It's, you know what I'm saying? Like you can't
Do
make.
I look like an engineer who works for Spotify?
I mean, Debo's only
Nothing
said
you said
50
makes
times,
sense.
do not mention the commercials. And every time he talks about the commercials for 3
What if you
minutes.
play South Park commercials on our podcast?
and literally the people listening on audio are like, what the hell is Brinson talking about? They probably say that at least 10
Traps
times per
is in here
podcast,
saying if Matt
but
Corral
definitely.
becomes an all-pro, I got to get a tattoo. Like, look, I don't want a tattoo. I don't like needles. I don't like
Do you
tattoos.
get shots?
Oh, I love that Traps.
I don't
That's
like getting
fantastic.
shots. I don't like doing any of that stuff. So like if I get one tattoo, that's it.
I love
We were
Traps'
dinner
idea.
last night. You were the only like 8 people. You're the only one with any tattoo, and you've gotten it like that day.
By the way, I'm getting another tattoo Friday.
Oh, what are you getting now?
That's a more family oriented one. By the way, I text my wife the
Are
link
you
to.
really getting another tattoo?
The next time we see him, he's going to have a whole sleeve.
I
Come in,
texted
guys.
I text my wife the link to the show, and she goes, "Oh, this makes so much more sense now." In terms of how we got to this
That's
point.
a pretty good one from Eric. Dickie V dunking a pick six logo on Randy Bullock.
There you go.
Oh,
that's actually really good.
do you guys want to talk more tattoo, or do you want to?
No, let's go. We're done. I think people are caught up. Thanks again to everybody who donated, including Brinson. Again, Breach, you did literally nothing in terms of contributing. to
Where
this.
did you get the tattoo? In Nashville. Where do I live? In Nashville. Thank
right.
you.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean,
to come to my
Bridges'
city
only
to get the
contribution
tattoo.
is like being a
Bengals fan.
like living through like 3 decades of losing.
No, Wilson did not. He did not mentally move to the next step till I actually produced a drawing.
That is
of the
true. That is
tattoo.
true. Yeah, that's true.
All right. And then,
No, you didn't get whatever Breach drew per se.
yeah, you didn't even draw anything. What'd you do?
I drew the Ryan Finley face, and you did not want
I
my
think it was like
artistic work. I'm literally the Leonardo da Vinci of drawing Ryan Finley, and you refused
You very well
to
may
get
be.
it on your arm.
I think it was like more like a very.
You get used a filter app and just threw.
I think it was like
It was a
he used like
hand draw.
Microsoft Paint and like,
Yes.
like copy and paste. It was like Ryan Finley had like green around him, and it was like it was not.
It was
very,
a great drawing.
It was not a great.
Some of my best.
That could be his tattoo then.
All right. Well, speaking of the Steelers and the Bengals, Kenny Pickett
Gonna pick it.
had his debut and was fantastic. Right? No?
Numbers are great. I mean, if you watch, he threw a lot of them. You know, Prisco texted me right away because Kenny Pickett was his number 1 quarterback,
Yeah.
and all he said was Pickett. I said, Pete, he threw a bunch of 5-year passes, and the last pass at the end was a nice play by Tyler Bonds on a little quick out. But yeah, no, he did what he's asked to do. He had he got sacked pretty horribly on one play near the goal line, and then a 4th down play that wasn't really his fault necessarily. He got sacked. They lost the ball near midfield. He played okay, though. I mean, I don't have any concerns with it. But honestly, I don't know how much of that game you watched, but of the 3 quarters that played, Trubisky, Mason Rudolph, and Kenny Pickett was probably the 3rd best. But again, 13, 15, 95 yards, 2 touchdowns. You're not going to be upset by that if you're want to see Kenny Pickett play sooner rather than later. So it's a good start. But he didn't throw the ball down the field. I don't think he threw any pass air yards wise that went over 10 yards. Really? So just something to keep in mind. But again, it could have gone a lot worse. And, he's certainly used to playing there. The fans were super pumped. They were chanting, Kenny. And, he did.
Well, and that's the other part of it is that, yes, his numbers looked great, but he's out there playing against the bottom of Seattle's roster.
Did Joe Burrow play preseason? Because they knew he was going to be the starter, so I don't know if they must have rolled him out there.
Remember?
Yeah, that's the thing. You don't remember.
He played 3 snaps last preseason.
I want to say that he didn't play a lot.
Because Kenny Pickett is not going to be, unless something crazy happens, he's not going to be Joe Burrow in terms of that sort of impact type player. But do
you think
he's young,
Kenny
he's
Pickett
athletic,
did enough to deserve a first half?
Oh, that's fine. I mean,
in one of the next 2 preseasons.
Yeah, of course. Because I don't think Mr. Trubisky's probably going to play.
Do you think there's any way Pickett could still win the job? I think that's where I'm going.
I don't think so. Tomlin sort of indicated, I think when BMAC and JJ were there at camp last week, that Trubisky had the inroads. I don't think he came out and said that Trubisky's going to be a starter. And I think that's a good place to start. There's no reason to throw Kenny Pickett out there. Because here's the thing, Breach, and you know this as a fan of a team that hasn't won a Super Bowl since when?
Wait, we didn't have preseason in 2020.
Oh yeah, that's why. I was literally racking my brain listening to him.
But I was looking up stats. It was like no stats to display.
So Joe Burrow's played 3 preseason snaps.
There you go.
Yeah.
But what you don't want to do is what I was going to say is that you don't want to put Kenny Pickett out there. Then he struggles. Then you have to bring Mr. Trubisky in, and then you have to start flip flopping these guys after a bad series. So I think you start with the veteran
in the preseason.
Once the season starts, he said, "Is there any chance that Kenny wins the job?" And I said, even if he outplays Mr. Trubisky, and he hasn't yet, and Tomlin's indicated that he wants Trubisky, I think you roll with Trubisky. And then if he struggles, then in October, November, whenever, you make the switch, because otherwise you're doing what they did with Tua. You're sort of have him on a string, and he's going back and forth, and Fitzpatrick's coming in, and no one's clear what the
in the Steelers schedule. And we talked about this a little bit, but like the Steelers
week
schedule,
1's a win.
Oh,
I don't
at Bengals
comment at all.
Yeah.
Well, they get Bengals.
For who?
Well, I mean, it's at Bengals, and the Bengals defense. Pete Briscoe said that he thinks they're going to be, like in Pete's words, nasty.
Yeah, but Joe Burrow, he's barely back on the field. He's like on a wheelchair. He's got
no, but I'm saying you've got
crutches.
Your first couple of games are at Cincy, New England, at Cleveland, Jets, at Bills, Buccaneers, at Dolphins, at Eagles. Like I don't know that I want to necessarily throw a rookie quarterback into that
gauntlet,
right? And if Trubisky's good enough where he can get 4 or 5 wins, and all of a sudden he keeps the job, but otherwise you have that week 9 bye where it's just an easy. Maybe it's week 9, right? Where it's just an easy delineation where if Trubisky's like 2-6 or even 4-4.
Well, you don't want to throw Pickett on the field. Certainly not against the Patriots in week 2.
Right, exactly. That's an L. You're losing that game.
Because the Patriots defense might be better than the Bengals. Like, that defense is supposed to be
really Belichick is just a master over rookie quarterbacks.
Yeah, exactly.
He destroys them.
Yeah. And Mike Tomlin.
Kenny Pickett's 28, though. Does that matter?
That's true, yeah.
That is true.
Kenny Pickett's 6 years older.
By the way, Mike Kenny makes a good point. Have you seen Seattle's roster? It's all bottom barrel. Their roster is not great.
Yeah.
Boye Mafe flashed, their second-round pick. Kenny Walker looked pretty good. Kenneth Walker, looked pretty good in the carries he had. Tariq Woolen, the cornerback, and Kobe Bryant, I thought weren't terrible, but I mean, you're not going to win football games with a draft class having to make all the plays. So Geno looked fine. He looked like Geno. Drew Lock had a strip sack at the end that cost him the win, which checks out. But other than that, DK didn't play. Tyler Lockett didn't play.
And you know what's crazy about that Drew Lock strip sack?
Oh, he was amazing.
He played decently, but then that's the Drew Lock story where just back-breaking turnover that absolutely kills the team, and you can't have that out there worrying that that's going to happen.
Yeah, Brinson mentioned George Pickens win the second round, and I remember I was talking to wide receivers coach before the draft, and he said it's all just like immaturity stuff. Like he would have gone earlier. It wasn't even the ACL that he tore.
Well, there were definitely some rumors out there about things that off-field stuff that just didn't. Immaturity stuff.
Yeah, I don't think it was anything serious. It
turns out it may not have been correct, but like just those rumors were lingering. I want to see what Pickens is for Rookie of the Year.
I would imagine it's pretty high.
This is my bold prediction on HQ this morning while you guys were sleeping.
That's the old Breach reverse jinx. Nice try.
George Pickens would lead all rookies in receiving yards.
Who else is in the running?
I mean, everyone that was drafted: Christian Watson, Jameson Williams, Chris Olave. There's a lot of guys.
Oh yeah, Garrett
Wilson, Drake London.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like I moved on past that draft.
You're already on a 2020.
You have to
I mean, there
prime
are
it.
a ton of receivers, and most of them were taken in front of Pickens.
Yeah,
I mean, Sky Moore in Kansas City's offense.
Yeah,
he could put up some big numbers.
Yeah, there's a lot of mouths to feed in Kansas City.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, there are. Well, it was interesting too. Like,
Wandale Robinson. That's the name.
Wandale Robinson.
I like
He got taken in front of Pickens.
Oh, you forgot him for HQ?
No, that was the one. I was trying to think of who the Giants.
The Chiefs thing, by the way, just real quickly on that. I thought it was interesting reading Peter King's article on whatever NBC Pro Football Talk, but he was saying that he was in Chiefs camp and talking about how they are really mixing up their whereas you would almost have like a setup with Tyreek Hill where it's
right.
Talking about just like how they operated, like he would be a little more not basic, but a little more cookie cutter in terms of their personnel, and also they would. Patrick Mahomes, like, we'd call this play, and like Tyreek Hill has made a man. I just let him figure it out, he just goes and makes a play, and then I sort of run around and get it to him. And now it's like a little more progression-based West Coast offense, I think, where you have Juju working on the inside, slides outside some. Sky Moore can come in inside. They just have a lot of different ways they can come at you. And Peter King reported that he was like he had barely had time to chart all of their plays. They had like 35 plays he saw. And he charted like 27 of them because he couldn't get them down. Which I just think if the Chiefs run up tempo like that,
learn shorthand.
It could be what's that?
You should learn shorthand.
Well, I mean that's his.
By the way, I'm getting a peek behind the serial killers.
I was wondering what you were looking at. You're like
I'm watching him like what he Googles to get to a point. He just Google Eagles quarterback history. What are you looking for?
Well, I was gonna say that Andy Reid is a mastermind, and how many offenses has he gone through, and how many times has he had to revamp his offense over the course of his coaching career? I mean, the guy went to 4 straight NFC title games. I think one year Freddie Mitchell was
Fred X always delivers,
the leading receiver. So you're talking about I think this is a challenge.
Pickens is down to 12-1.
This is a challenge that's going to reinvigorate Reid. He's saying, all right, you know what? I don't have Tyreek Hill, and I've got our offense still has to be running all cylinders. Yeah. Right.
Well, he said that in the thing. He's like, it's a nice challenge because I get to, you feel like people are doubting. Everyone like Wilson is the king of the Chargers bandwagon. Everybody's on the Chargers bandwagon. Everybody wants to back Russ. Everyone wants to back McDaniels. And
what's the other top choices for rookie of the year?
Kenny Pickett is 8-1, which is just stupid.
Not winning.
Breece Hall 9-1. Drake London and Treylon Burks 10. Garrett Wilson.
Nope.
Pickens 12-1. Pickens is probably 35-1 like a week or so ago.
Pickens feels like the safest.
Romeo Doubs is down to 14-1. What a joke.
That's crazy.
Kenneth Walker at 15-1 is kind of intriguing. Tolbert's down to 16-1. This is crazy. These markets are. Damian Pierce 25-1. Desmond Ritter's 30-1, which is like what we do.
Yeah.
Matt Corral's 40-1. What are we doing? Speaking of that,
I think Breece Hall is my favorite on that list. And
this is just 9-1, just a little 12-1 for Pickett.
But if he wins, you win. That's the point. I think he has the best chance to win.
Actually, Debo's putting him up there right now.
There you go. Thank you, Debo.
The thing on Damian Pierce 25-1. I don't mind that. That's a decent bet. Pickens was just a better value. Like Dubs was like 50-1 or like 100-1 just a couple of weeks ago, and now it's like 14-1. It's just silly.
Well, the one thing about the rookie of the year that kind of throws a wrench into it is that like you can play on a bad team and still win
100%. Yeah.
So when we're talking about MVP, if you don't think the team's gonna be good, you cannot bet on that player because you're not winning that on a bad team. But you have.
What's the example of that though?
The last Jamar Chase, obviously they went to the Super Bowl. Before that, you had Herbert, Kyler Murray, Saquon Barkley, all played for losing teams.
Won it all, in fact, only three rookie of the year.
Kyler only won 5 games.
No, only 3 times in the past 15 years, I think, has a rookie of the year, offensive rookie of the year winner been above won, I think, 10 games or more. So you can be on a losing team and win that award very easily. Now, you want to be a quarterback. That's like the ideal situation where you're a quarterback and you end up being the guy who gets the nod. But in a lot of cases, or in this particular case, I guess, this is why the odds are so shrunk on like Pickens and Romeo Doubs is there's no quarterbacks in this class. Like Kenny Pickett is not expected to start. He's not the favorite to start for the Steelers, and he's a favorite to win Rookie of the Year, which is just completely at odds with each other, those two facts. And so you have Matt Corral again, pushed up. Desmond Ridder, just looking at these other guys, like these quarterbacks are not going to win this award more than likely because I got trivia for you. When was the last time? This is a good.
We'll see.
When was the last time?
The Bengals player.
No, it's not. When was the last time that there were no rookie quarterbacks starting in week 1 of an NFL season.
Is it this century?
2001.
Feel free to guess in the comments. You guys are
2001.
It's not 2001.
That was Brady's rookie.
It's who? Tom Brady's
It
rookie?
was.
Or 2000.
What was EJ Manuel's year?
2013.
2013. Geno Smith's year.
That's the same year.
Who started? Geno started that?
No, it's EJ Manuel started week 1.
Oh, he did.
What?
Yeah.
Who started him?
Bills.
Why?
Because they
Oh, that's
drafted him in the
What a
first round.
horrible decision that was.
Who was
2013 was my best guess.
2014?
Is it
Going the wrong way.
2002? Oh, we're going the wrong way?
Yeah.
I was taking.
No,
I stole
hey,
Will
Wilson went
McQueen's
the wrong way
guess.
going 2014.
Oh, okay.
We're
We're gonna
using-
go a couple
you're
more
using-
years.
2010 was Sam Bradford.
2009 was Stafford.
2008 was Matt Ryan.
Yep.
Joe Flacco. I think Joe Flacco may have started the year. 2000.
Matt Ryan started.
Was
the
it
year.
2007?
Ding, 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 ding. Brady Quinn and Jamarcus Russell.
You gotta get a tattoo. You lost.
Yeah, there
You
we go.
even said
You can
Brady
get a Brady
Quinn.
Quinn tattoo
Yes.
now.
I don't have one. Joke's
I'm
on
sure
you.
you do, actually.
2006. Who was drafted 2006?
I didn't research past it.
No,
We were just going back to the
Well,
last
we were doing it. Yeah, we do this on the show. I did this on. Wait, oh, maybe it's me and
and
Sully.
you know what?
Me and Sully did it on the show. I think.
Who won Rookie of the Year that year?
Who won Rookie of the Year in 2007? Adrian Peterson.
Adrian Peterson. That's
Do you
right.
know who won MVP?
Bill
Tom
Rivers.
Brady.
It's Tom Brady. He went undefeated.
I just said-
16-0.
He didn't win the Super Bowl.
Who won the? Yes, Tim Jordan in the chat got it. I think before we said it. Good for you
We'll give it to you.
or whatever.
Tim wins.
So we were kind of going through some rookie quarterbacks. The Panthers and the, I'm going to call them the Washington football team. I'm not changing to Commanders. That's what I decided.
I like the Commander's name.
I
You
don't.
do?
I hate it.
I don't hate it, but Washington football team is just meh.
I
I
love the
sorta like Washington
WFTs.
football
No, the Commanders,
What's great about the Commanders?
because you were calling them the Commandos, and it was the only funny thing you've said in like months. And
The
I
like the-
chuckled to myself every
the
time. you said it.
Commodores too.
The
Commodores is a good one.
But then it's starting to be like Tyrann Mathieu, where it's like in my head,
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
the
And then you say
Commodores.
it, like on a radio hit or something.
Yeah. Well, I say it and people are like, all right, we get it. You think you're funny. It's like, no. I just actually have convinced myself that.
But again,
This
you
is
just
the
lean
name.
into it. Like if it's not funny, you just keep going.
By the way, I told I
Keep
texted Brady and was like, asked him that trivia question. Or Brady and I were texting about something. And I asked him that trivia
Tom
question.
Brady?
No, Brady Quinn.
Oh.
And I was like, you wouldn't guess 2007 because of Jamarcus, wasn't ready, and then your holdout. He's like, I didn't hold out, and I got really mad at me. I was like,
He's just humble bragging that he texted Brady.
But anyway, the Panthers and
Classic
the Commanders
president.
played in a preseason game this past weekend, and I think did the Commanders end up winning or did the Panthers? steal
Who
it?
cares?
The Commanders did not win because Zane Gonzalez hit a game-winning
That's right.
field goal.
That's right, because Matt Corral actually marched the Panthers down the field for a game-winning field goal without completing a pass.
I was gonna say March might not be the word.
Yes.
He was on the field while it happened.
I would like to know if this was this was a game-winning drive where he went 0 for 4.
It's an incredible. He finished the day 1 for 9 for 11 yards. Was the fourth quarterback playing for the Panthers behind Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, and PJ Walker.
Sorry to interrupt, but
Nah.
take a look at the Dirk Vandenberg's comment and then
Yeah, man.
Debo's response.
Either give seeing them together in a studio is weird. Either give Wilson a lower chair or Breach a higher one.
that better?
Oh! Dunk button.
Well, here read Debo's comment.
Well, I was sitting on a phone book, but then Wilson had to use it. So
Breach is 5'3", different chairs won't help.
there we go.
What happened to the phone book?
Wilson
Someone
took it
needed
away.
it. Anyway, Matt Corral, my number 1 quarterback coming into the draft, didn't have a stellar outing
not
just to start
at
off.
all.
And I mean, look,
My number 2 quarterback did, Sam Howell.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to do next. I'm not down on Matt Corral. I like Matt Corral as a player. He looked awful. He looked skittish in the pocket. His footwork was not very good. I was just down on the Panthers' process in acquiring him. I thought Baker Mayfield looked pretty sharp, and Sam Darnold looked sharp too. Like he looked like he was kind of inspired by the Baker Mayfield addition to really step up
Don't
his
fall
game.
for that.
I'm not, but I mean, I think the Panthers I'm doing this and I'm going to hate myself in like a month. But I'm
He's talking. into
By the
this.
way, this game-winning drive that Corral engineered. So the Panthers went 40 yards to set up the Zane Gonzalez field goal. 20 yards were rushing. 20 yards were on
penalty.
Washington penalties.
Yeah,
That was the game-winning
Yeah,
drive.
it was pretty
that
bad.
shout out to
Corral
Breach for using ESPN Game Tracker instead of CBS's
Dude,
for that.
jeez.
What? I already had
I
this.
love
open.
this seat, by the way.
Yeah, not only is Breach doesn't have a cover for the Apple logo.
I
but
asked
he's-
for one.
yeah.
I asked for one and I got shot down.
Wilson's got CBS.
You said Debo plans for everything.
I got
but
a
didn't-
fish Charleston sticker.
You're a poor man's Guster. That's
There
what
we
you
go.
are.
Yeah, poor man's Guster. Like, right, yeah, that's it.
Now my phone's blocking.
But yeah, Sam Howell, man, 9-16 for 145 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. I was really impressed with what Howell did, just in terms of his ability to. He looked calm and he looked not overwhelmed by the situation, and he used his legs. You do worry his physical stature. If he tries to use his legs too much in a full
But
NFL
unlike
setting,
Corral, he's thick. Like he's thick.
he's a little
Corral's
sturdy.
a little slight.
Yeah.
And Corral struggled to keep weight on, I believe, last year at Ole Miss. Sam Howell had some throws like, oh boy, that would have been intercepted if this had been a real game. But again, it's week one of the preseason.
They don't need him to play because
that's right.
He might end up playing at some point in the year.
And look, compared to what Kenny Pickett did, I thought Sam Howell did a lot more things that gave you some things to be excited about in terms of pushing the ball down the field. The Steelers perhaps didn't ask Kenny Pickett to do that. I'm not weighing on Kenny Pickett, but Sam Howell, I don't know which drive it was that he ended up scoring a 15, 20-yard run on the last play. The 2 previous plays, he made 2 fantastic throws in the middle of the field. You're like, okay, this works. He had a couple throws outside that were almost intercepted, a little late, but clean that up. His footwork's still sort of a concern, and that's what was part of the issue at UNC. And he played an offense at UNC that was incredibly sort of simple. But I feel like you have to feel good about the way he started as well. I think Carson Wentz did okay. I didn't pay attention to. I didn't see his snaps.
Devo's like can't be in here. We can't bring Devo in on the audio. He wanted to be here because of how much he is involved in the planning of this tattoo thing, and so I think he's lashing out by being super chatty.
Aggressive.
He's like being chatty. He's like thrashing all of us, like talking. So, like
You're not thrashing me. Just you and short stuff over here.
Oh my God, making fun of my height, your hair.
The Sam Howell setup's kind of perfect. Like I think Washington may have done a good job with like the way that they built out the quarterback room, just in terms of if you're right about Carson Wentz, and I mean again, like I don't have to be. Like I don't think they are, but if they are right about Carson Wentz,
he's okay.
And then when you have Wentz gets hurt, you have Taylor Heineke as your backup that you trust in that offense, who knows the offense, who can come in and at least be like a frisky, second string guy. And then Sam Howell can be the redshirt year where you think maybe this guy does have a future, and if he has to, he can come in and play some. But more importantly, you let Sam Howell develop and you kind of watch him in the practice room, and then maybe you don't have to worry about because you can get out from the Wentz deal after 1 year, right? Or is it only a 1 year deal?
That I don't know, but I can't. I imagine that he's not on.
Well, the one thing I'll say about Wentz real quick is that based on all the negativity that was heard about him surrounding him early in training camp and his accuracy issues, that I had very low expectations coming to this.
Yeah, he's nothing guaranteed after 2022.
And I thought he played better than the expectations I had for him. So I don't know if that means he played well.
It would have been hard to play worse than those.
I mean, I don't know. It's Carson Wentz. So
I mean, we do talk about this some, but it's like Carson Wentz, his performance last year with Indianapolis wasn't good.
Okay.
But if he doesn't lose week 18 to the friggin' Jaguars, I don't think people are like complaining quite as much about.
That's right.
Like people are like, all right, it was good enough. Like he probably doesn't get.
But that's like saying, I was a bit my tongue. That's like saying, you're a really good pilot, but if you hadn't flown to the side of that mountain, we wouldn't have thought you were a terrible pilot. So at the end, he hit the mountain, then you have to sort of reevaluate.
That is true.
Do you want to talk about Bailey Zappi?
Yeah, the starters didn't play in New England. Bailey Zappi drafted ahead of Sam Howell, which is certainly noteworthy because no one saw that coming. And what are his numbers here? 1930. Oh my God, he threw the ball a ton. 1932, 205 yards. Touchdown. Debo wonders if he could beat out Hoyer. Absolutely. That's such a Bill Belichick move. Like you draft someone, you only have 2 quarterbacks on the roster. The second quarterback hasn't played 1 minute. You make the face, but he's done that before.
No, I'm just saying Belichick usually has that veteran, and that's why he kept Hoyer last year because you have a rookie quarterback. I don't know that he's going to put a second-year quarterback as his starter and a rookie quarterback as his backup. But
he loves
matchups. The only 2 quarterbacks on the roster. That just seems very un-Belichick.
Previously, it was obviously Tom Brady as the number 1, so there was no real concern there. I will say this, though. I didn't see Bailey Zappi snaps with some of the things I read. There were some concerns about arm issues. And arm issues were the concerns coming out of Western Kentucky as well. He reminded me a lot of like Doug Hodges and Taylor Heineke. And I think that doesn't necessarily have to be a ceiling, but I mean, I don't know if his arm's going to get noticeably better over the next few months or few years.
Maybe he'll be the next Chase Daniel and just be a career backup, make $40 million, only throwing
41.
I'd kill to be the next Chase Daniel. Malik Willis, 6 of 11, 107 yards, 5 rushes, 38 yards, and a rushing TD. I don't think there's any real concern that he's going to be.
No, I mean, you draft him in 3rd round, and
I mean, you were hoping he's a redshirt year too.
I think, yeah. I mean, he did a lot of things that got your attention, and he made some late throws and missed some things, but whatever, that doesn't matter. But you want to see him push the ball down the field. He did that. He had a deep ball that he completed. He used his legs. He bounced off a couple guys and scored a touchdown. Yeah, I think it's not necessarily best case scenario, but it's pretty high up there. It could have gone in the other. It could have been a Matt Corral type situation.
Well, and one thing with Willis though is that he refuses to slide. That guy was just taking hits left and right, which you cannot do if you are a starting quarterback. And then the other part of it, and I think Mike Vrabel actually mentioned this after that game, is that he just wasn't finishing his reads. If the first read wasn't there, he was just tucking the ball down and taking off or getting out of the pocket. And I think the Titans got a little frustrated with that. But overall, it's your first start ever. You're going to make mistakes. And I thought he looked pretty good.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, again, but that's one of the issues coming out of Liberty where he was the only show in town having to do everything. And
yeah, I mean, I saw it it was 2020 where, so different, but like, he came to Raleigh and played against Cincy State. And it was like, clearly like you're taking it's like a step up in like, the talent level that you're dealing with when you play at Liberty. The nature of the business. Desmond Ridder, 10 of 22, 103 yards, 2 touchdowns, 6 rushes, 59 yards. Feels like Falcons fans, Wilson, are clamoring to get Desmond Ridder in the starting lineup ahead of Marcus Mariota. Is that a good idea or not?
Marcus Mariota's had 1 start since 2019. And when I was doing, in the lead up to the draft, we do all these video on demands of sort of the scouting reports, 30 seconds. And I did Desmond Ridder. And my comp for him was, you want to guess who it was?
I do not want to guess.
Marcus Mariota.
What?
So there's similar type players, but I think Desmond Ridder clearly has more upside. He's the new guy in the quarterback room. And again, he's a guy who did some things that were impressive. The only issue I had with Desmond Ridder was the accuracy in terms of consistency. Because I said this a million times in the lead up to the draft. When we talked to him at the combine, he was awesome. Like a guy that you want leading your football team. He loves football. That's all he cares about. He won't give you any issues off the field. He's going to be at work all the time, that sort of stuff. Made a lot of good decisions. He just struggled with accuracy. And we saw a little bit of that in the first go round in the preseason game, but we saw some throws that were like big boy throws that I didn't see necessarily consistently at Cincinnati. So that was encouraging. And again, I wouldn't start him right away for the same reason I wouldn't start Kenny Pickett, because once you can't go back, if he goes out there and gets absolutely destroyed and gets sacked 20 times in the first 3 games, and he's, you're like, well, this guy needs a break. Do you want to play the sort of the yo-yo game with him and Marcus Mariota?
Ridder at 30-1 might not be a terrible bet for rookie of the year, because again, like Breach is correct. With these, I'm gonna bring up the winners of the rookie of the year. So Jamar Chase, that's fine. Like you had they won games. Really should have been Mac Jones, by the way, on a Patriots team that wasn't that great.
Wait, Mac who?
Who?
Mac Jones was minus 1,000 going into the.
I'm kidding. McCorkle's my guy.
I know, but Mac
Jamar Chase.
No, Mac Jones was
rookie in the NFL.
Mac Jones was minus 1,000 until that monster game against the Chiefs, and Mac was winning it, and then it flipped on that monster game. I'm just telling you, like Mac Jones was going to be the winner until that huge 252-yard game from Jamar Chase. I'm not knocking Chase. Jesus, Breach, just let me get through the point, which is that Mac Jones.
Like this point already.
Mac Jones.
Talk to the tattoo.
Justin Herbert the year before, 7-9 Chargers team won it. The Cardinals the year before that, Kyler Murray 5-10-1, beat out Josh Jacobs really should have won it. Saquon Barkley on a bad Giants team. Alvin Kamara on the Saints. That was a little different because remember Marshall Lattimore won Defensive Rookie of the Year. They went from 7-9 3 straight years into winning a bunch of games. Yeah,
3rd round pick, I believe.
Dak Prescott before that, 13-3 Cowboys team. But Ty Gurley on a bad Rams team. Odell on a bad Giants team, despite playing 6-10. Yep. Got Eddie Lacy. I think that Packers team was good.
They were okay.
RG3
8-7-1 year.
But I mean, like you can not win 12 games and win Rookie of the Year. And so Desmond Ridder, if the Falcons stink coming out of the gate, which is entirely possible, you could see Desmond Ridder take over, play 15. Maybe Mariota gets hurt. And Ridder, I'm just saying 30-1 is not a bad price for Desmond Ridder.
Yeah, I mean,
and
crazier stuff.
Real quick, because that is what happened with Justin Herbert. Remember, the Chargers were going with
Tyrod Taylor,
and Herbert wasn't going to be
Tyrod got
starting
stabbed by the
year.
doctors.
And then, boom, all of a sudden you have Herbert in there, and then he wins Rookie of the Year.
Yep.
So
before
that's a possibility.
Before Dirk's comment goes away, I don't know if we're going to talk about it. It wasn't on the rundown, but Matt Ariza's 82-yard punt.
Oh, yeah, good call.
Oh, yeah, that was – I mean, look, the whole thing was – can he replicate this in the NFL? The NFL football is a little bit different than a college football. And for him to come out on his first preseason punt and just smash an 82-yard punt that goes more than 75 yards in the air. And I know that, there's some talk still about his finesse. And if they're at the 50-yard line, can he pin the other team at the 5? And so I think those are things that the Bills will be concerned with. But the thing is, when you are punting the ball 82 yards, team doesn't care about finesse because you're flipping the field. That is a 62-yard net. I think
you mentioned it went through the end zone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a touchback.
Right.
So,
but still,
I think the leading net yardage
from the 18 to the 20. That's
right.
Your 18 to the
it's a 62-yard net, and I think the leading net yardage in the NFL last year was like 44 yards. So 44 is great. He got 62 yards net on that punt. So
last Monday, 8 days ago, I was at Bill's training camp with Prisco, and
high five Ariza.
And I was watching him and Matt.
Did you tell him to get Ariza tattoo right here on my face?
Matt Hawk, is that how you say his last name?
Hawk.
Haack, who they're competing. And Hawk's actually a pretty good punter, but it's sort of like, Brinson, I'm sure you know this, like when you're at a golf tournament and you hear a professional golfer hit a golf ball, it sounds differently than when you hit a golf ball.
Right.
That's how the ball sounded coming off Matt Ariza's foot. And I was 50 yards away watching
like a firework is going on.
And it feels like he's a guy, and this isn't necessarily uncommon, I think McAfee did this, but a guy who would continually hit the Jerry Dome scoreboard in the middle of the field. He hits the ball so incredibly high. And it's just crazy to watch. Like, I think he hadn't been lighting it up at camp, but I think there's a competition with him and Hawk. But
and Hawk only had one punt in this game over the weekend.
I think it's down to the 12 or something.
It was a 38-yard punt, but that's, you're pinning a team inside their own 15-yard line. So there's something to be said for that. And it's hard to kind of measure those two punts against each other. But the important thing that Matt Ariza did over the weekend was he was the holder on Tyler Bass's game-winning field goal. Remember?
Oh, right. That's right.
Ariza didn't hold in college because he was the place kicker at San Diego State. So he literally never held before. And it's been kind of a running joke in Buffalo now about Ariza's ability to hold. If you just go on Twitter and put in Ariza hold. And
by the way, Paul Tattoo notes he thinks it was 72 air punt yards.
All of these, it might have been from the line of scrimmage. From where he actually punted it, it went, I think, 78.
When you come to the king, you best not miss. That what you're saying?
Well, no, I'm not saying that. But he could be right. I don't know. So now I lost my So he held on Tyler Bass's game-winning field goal, and the poor thing there is like you can't replicate that kind of pressure in practice when you're holding, because that's the hardest thing you can do is hold on a game-winning field goal. And he got a perfect hold down. Bass made the field goal. The Bills won.
That's good.
Brinson loves punter talk.
I do love punter talk.
He's making reservations for dinner when he gets back.
I was thinking about what I want for lunch actually. We had a lovely, me and Wilson and Chip Patterson had a lovely breakfast.
Yeah, I wasn't there. I had to work.
All right, what else we got?
The Dolphins quarterbacks today threw 6 interceptions against the Dolphins defense. Stinky Tua back, because Tua's like this has been like the training camp of Tua hype, like nothing but Tua hype nonstop. Like, oh, Tyreek Hill's like hyping him up. Tua's throwing deep passes. All the Dolphins like reporters are so bad about being homers, like way worse than like a lot of other teams. Where like everybody's hyping up Tua and talking about how great he is, and now all of a sudden you get these interceptions. I do wonder how that's going to progress over the course of. I mean, like, he's going to start. It doesn't matter, but
I think that's. I mean, we talked about this. You want Tyreek to do exactly. You don't want to be Antonio Brown.
Yeah. Like
talk about Jesus at Red Rocks.
Right.
I know that wasn't true, but you know my point. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, like if you got a job, let's say like you got hired by Frisco football.about.com, which is Pete's
Vandalay interest.
Yeah, or like wherever. Like you get hired, you get hired away by CBS.
Frisco sells. He's in latex. Go ahead.
Yeah, and they give you a bunch of money to work at another football site. You're gonna be like tweeting out like links, like
FriscoFootball.com. Okay.
Yeah. FriscoFootball.biz. Like, you're like tweeting out links like crazy. Like you're gonna be wanting to you're gonna be rah and be like talking about, oh, look at this great article from my coworker. But like we've been at CBS for like 12 years. You're like, I don't care.
I don't read. I've never once read Breach's newsletter. Nor
what?
Will I. No offense.
You don't even open it?
I actually subscribe, but don't open it to reduce his open rate.
God, you're killing me.
I only open it on Wednesdays.
That's insulting.
That's the day Breach doesn't write it.
Breach is off on Wednesday, so that's why you.
Well, I mean, you could say, I get what you're saying, but you could also say that Skylar Thompson, who was drafted on day 3, 28, 218 yards and a touchdown. And then okay, is Mike McDaniel a quarterback whisperer, even though sort of he's known for coordinating the running game? I mean, it's a great showing by Skylar Thompson, no doubt about it. But maybe the way that McDaniel is doing things, it will have that effect on Tua. I mean, Teddy B is also there, and it could be a Teddy B Tua. It could be also just like a Ryan Fitzpatrick Tua situation if things don't go well, because the pressure Rich and I were talking about this. I don't think you were on the pod this time, but could it be a situation where Mike McDaniel is one and done if Sean Payton wants that job?
If Dolphins
What if they win? What if they
7
win?
games? Yes.
Well, even 7. Okay. All right. So that's sort of there's
what?
I think if they have a losing record and Sean Payton wants the job, it's possible.
What, 8-9? That's a losing record.
It's closer to a winning record.
I don't know that you can hire Sean Payton after being fined all that money for tampering.
Well, now
Why?
everybody,
If you're
knows,
fined,
everybody knows you want him now.
You can't be. You can't.
Fair.
It's double jeopardy. That's law school 101.
I'm just saying it's a bad look. I mean,
But
okay,
I think they're
what
beyond
if Mike
that.
McDaniel,
you're not going to be retried.
What if the Dolphins go 5-12?
But that's a different conversation than 7-9. 7
I think
7-10.
they go 5 and 12 is going to get all blamed on Tua.
So then McDaniel dumps Tua.
Yeah, they move on from 2 and draft. So they go 5 and 12.
And
They're going to
get
draft
Tom
like
Brady?
C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young, or
Get sign Tom Brady.
maybe sign Tom Brady.
in March.
I think they're going to stay in unless Sean Payton just like I don't think Sean Payton's going to give me that job. I want that job. Get rid of McDaniel. Like I don't think.
All right.
that's
Well,
gonna-
let's say Peyton said the report was that Peyton either wants the Chargers job, the Cowboys job, or the Dolphins job. Which one's it?
Emily Anderson Saul is giving us places to go for the after party. We're
Oh.
down. Send if you got recommendations for where we should go to Nashville.
Thank
or,
you, Emily.
Or if anybody's in Nashville, by the way, hit us up.
Brett Breach lives in Nashville. He doesn't know where to. He has been.
Yeah, we're all right.
So first of all, I
Oh,
recommended
no.
5 restaurants last night, and we ended up going to one of my recommendations,
That was
and now
actually-
they're trying to make jokes.
It was actually
like
good,
I
too.
don't live here.
Yeah.
we are convinced that Breach lives in
An Airbnb in Franklin, 30 miles south of the city.
no. I'm
No.
convinced you live in like Connecticut, and you rented an Airbnb.
No, he lives in a log cabin.
So, yeah. You live in Nebraska, and you
Yes.
flew here, and you're pretending that you have an Airbnb, that you live in a house in like south of Tennessee.
I live in a cabin on Rocky Top.
And you were really just like texting us and saying like, all right, I'm going to drive in town, and then you wait 30 minutes to leave, but you're actually staying at a hotel very close by.
By the way, something else.
Despite the fact that we came to Breach's wedding in Nashville, this is how I feel.
Again, it's a long con. Debo and I were talking about this yesterday as we were walking to the 4 miles to the dinner spot that Breach had picked out. Like I can't imagine Breach driving a car. Just doesn't seem like physically possible. And we were coming up with
0.4 miles.
we were coming up with what kind of car Breach would drive. So if you have it, like what your guesses would be and what Breach drives. Debo said an H3 Hummer. I said a Mini Cooper. Like what kind? Like look at this guy. What kind of
And
car?
the funny thing about his Mini Cooper guess was that I literally this past weekend told my wife that I kind of want to get a convertible Mini Cooper.
Please don't do that.
No, more
do
than
it.
3 days ago.
They don't
And
make-
then you guessing a Mini Cooper is absolutely hilarious.
I think you drive like a.
No, gas is $4.
Oh,
a
he's,
gallon. You can't
he's
buy
definitely
a H3.
he's definitely a Prius.
I think Breach drives a some kind of Mazda or a Hyundai,
A Mazda. I had a Mazda once.
Yeah, you feel like a Hyundai.
or
guy.
maybe he drives like a Mitsubishi Spider.
Dominic says Power Wheel.
Power. There you go.
Mitsubishi
That hurts.
Spider.
Honda
That
CR-V.
hurts, Dominic.
Yeah.
A Power Wheel.
Honda
Um,
CR-V. What do you drive?
Oh, those are nice. You know what? Well, we have 2 cars. The car I drove that I'm actually going to give these guys a ride to the hotel.
No,
in.
we're gonna get an Uber. It's
You
fine.
should get it because you're not going to fit. Is a Mitsubishi Mirage.
Oh!
You said Mazda.
It's
I
our
said Mitsubishi.
it's our backup car.
What's the main car?
A Nissan Rogue.
Oh, okay. That's a family mobile.
That's the family mobile.
That actually is
Wait, isn't that kind of
relatively
sedan, too?
normal. No,
Oh,
Rogue is
okay,
a little
okay.
mini
It's an
SUV.
SUV.
Wait, what's the Mitsubishi? I need to see this.
It's a
Mirage.
little tiny car.
Yeah, it's like a sports car, isn't it?
No, it is a hatchback, little tiny car
I
that
love
we
it.
always drive like once every 2 months. Are you
Oh,
got a
so
picture of it?
It's like-
I'm just laughing. Google
Let's see.
Mitsubishi. It's just like picturing Breach in like this little like,
Oh my god!
like bright green like Mitsubishi.
Oh, is that it? That's awesome. That is the Breach mobile.
You know what? I spend $5 a month on gas.
There it is. Thank you, Debo. He's
That-
definitely driving the
It's
yellow
orange
one.
with Bengal stripes.
Right, that's it. With a Snoopy on the side.
With Snoopy on the side.
That's fantastic.
Oh,
It's like
that's
the
fantastic.
Larry David mobile with the periscope.
One more piece of news that is like kind of
Debo said we're done. So what do you
well,
have?
so I'm
for
just gonna point
softball?
this out real quick. Because we've been like I found myself getting suckered into like the Panthers a little bit, and Icky mentioned that. But Bradley Bozeman, lower leg injury, Tuesday's practice had to be carted off, and like this is sort of has been my point about the Panthers is like there's a path where the Panthers end up everyone's healthy on the offensive line. The offensive line overperforms expectations. Baker is good Baker. The receivers are stepping up. You have, Robbie Anderson is the deep threat, and then DJ Moore has a career year, which all these things are possible. And then like the defensive players take these big leaps. But I think the issue is like, this is just a reminder that like, it's sort of a Jenga tower. Where if you get a situation where like Bradley Bozeman goes down, or like Ike Ekwano's not ready to pass block as a pro, right now, like, or Baker's not good Baker. There's just one of those things happens, and all of a sudden the whole operation.
I think
falls
we're
apart.
at the point where Baker's not even top 5 concern. Like
Yeah.
I'm less concerned about him than about a myriad of other things, starting with the offensive line, the wide receivers, the tight ends.
And a Washington too, by the way. Sounds like Brian Robinson might end up stealing that job from Antonio Gibson.
Yeah, I had heard that they drafted Robinson because they weren't crazy about Antonio.
I don't think Ron Rivera likes Gibson.
Well, he was awesome at Memphis, but
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
As
As Janet Jackson likes to say,
What does Janet Jackson say?
"What have you done for me lately?"
Oh,
Does a layup.
That was a layup, and I missed it. I've missed layups before, Wilson.
You just close your computer as if to say we're done here.
I didn't want to see the Mitsubishi Mirage anymore.
All right. Well, apparently, okay.
And Gibson did have a fumble in the game. I was actually double checking. I couldn't remember. I thought it was.
Well, we've hit the hour mark, as we are prone to do during this podcast. I'm sure there's actually somebody who needs to come in here and do a different show. The tattoo happened. It happened. Wilson did it. It got done.
You're next.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. If you are listening and you want to check out the tattoo, go to youtube.com/pick6 for Wilson, for Snoopy, for Breach.
Yes.
I'm Brinson. We will see you guys later.